Hey, everybody, what's up? Hey, it's 2016. 2016, what are the plans? What are you going to do? What are you going to accomplish in 2016? I hope you guys have big goals. We certainly do down here. Hey, welcome back to the show. This is officially the start of our third year. I can't believe it, man. 3 years. 3 years doing this show. And for some of you guys out there, you've been with us from the beginning, so I appreciate you tuning in. Now, if you just got a new crispy clean iPhone 6S for Christmas and you're just downloading some podcasts for the first time, I'm glad you found the show. This show, we talk about entrepreneurship through the lens of a real estate agent. We talk about what top producers do, what are their tips and tricks and strategies. Now, today's episode is a little bit different in the sense that it's very different. And I want to talk you through why we're doing this show or this episode. One of the things that I was thinking about was how do we as real estate agents, mortgage brokers, or business people, how do we make a splash as big as possible, as fast as possible? Now, one thing that I've done in all my career is try to tap into somebody who already has the prospect, the client that I want. So, and the way I've done that with radio and with the show, right? I go and talk with, these big time coaches who have spent years and years and years building up their brand name. And, I go and cut some kind of deal with them. And through that association, I get access to their big audience, and they get access to my audience as well. And a good example of this is way back in the late 80s, early 90s or something, Ice-T. I don't know if you remember Ice-T, the rapper, and then he went and did a rock band, right? Nobody said Ice-T. Everybody said, hey, Ice-T, you can't do a rock band. He said, yeah, I'm going to do a rock band. So he forms this rock band, right? He's a rapper actor at this point. And he made a big splash. You know how? He didn't build up ground roots followers or listeners. What he did is he went and cut a deal with Metallica and opened for Metallica. So from day one, like early on, this guy's playing huge stadiums because he jumped on Metallica's bandwagon, right? So why am I even telling you that? Is because how do you guys build your business in that regard? How do you go and cut a strategic deal with somebody who's already got the prospects that you want to meet? Now, today's guests, and there's the panel, there's two guys, are doing this type of thing in a different kind of a way. They're actually there's a few pieces to their business, and I want to talk to you a little bit about it. I want to expose you guys to these guys because they have built a business based on mass mailing. Okay. But there's three pillars to their business. One is they send out mailers kind of like, hey, we'll buy your house. So some people will sell their house or willing to sell their house at 70 cents on the dollar. Perfect. So they have investors. They buy those houses, mark them up, right? Make a little cut, right? Flip those houses to investors. Okay. Some people who respond to those mailers maybe want 90%, right? 85% of their value. So what they do is they flip contracts. They'll put them under contract, put the contract, sign them up, and then flip the contract and make a little fluff on it. And then those are other people that contact them, through these mailers that want par, they want value, or whatever it is. It's worth 500 grand. They want 500 grand. Well, then they have a retail side of their business and they just list their houses. They are getting tons of leads every month. I think they're flipping like 100 houses a month, not to mention the contracts. And they're so successful at it that they're actually offering this service to help other people. I don't, whatever. It's a pretty compelling episode. Listen to it. I hope you like it. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah.
Real quick, before we get to the content, as you know, hopefully, this show is brought to you by Real Estate Radio Experts. And by the way, guys, if you haven't gone to the site, go to the site. We just did a relaunch, a new redesign. I would love to get your take on it. realestateradioexperts.com. If you want to level up for 2016, sign up, go fill out the Getting Started sheet, and let's chat. We've had a ton of interest in the last 4 weeks. I don't know what's in the water out there, but everybody wants to do radio these days. And you know what? Guess what? In the last week or so, I've had conversations with two people who listened to this show, heard me talk about radio, and they're trying to do it on their own, which is insane. I looked at one guy's campaign, and he's it's just ridiculous. I saw his schedule. I called him up. I said, dude, give me your rep's number. I just said, stop it. We need to redo this. Anyhow, it does not hurt to work with an agency like us. And you know what? Here's why. I'll tell you why. Because, when we take a client to a station, that station treats us as a buyer's agent. So it fundamentally doesn't cost you anything to work with an agency like us. So don't try to roll it on your own. All right. Hey, listen, hashtag for the show is Unpack That Idea. My Twitter handle is @SuperAgentsLive. Would love to meet you in Twitterland. Let's get to it. Of your business. Today's guests, I'm really excited to have on. They are doing something extremely unique. And I wanted to, a couple things. Number one, introduce you guys to them. And maybe you guys, maybe there's a room for what they're doing in your business. And two, I just wanted you guys to hear it. Because even if you don't work with today's guests, maybe you want to try something, at least baby steps, similar to them. I'm thrilled to welcome my buddy Pete Cook and his partner Peter Vexelman. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
What's going on? Appreciate you having us.
You got it. So look, we want to dig into what you're doing. Before we get there, I'm always curious about the man behind the machine. So give us a sense, and Peter, I'll let you start off first. Take a minute and just tell us a little bit about who you are.
All right, Pete, you go first. All right, well, I'll go first. Okay. My name is Pete Cook. I live in Northeast Florida, really St. Augustine, Jacksonville area. I've been in real estate for almost 15 years. Got started in the development side. We did some really nice oceanfront developments. I worked for Syntex Destination Properties and a company called GIN Development. And then over the last couple of years, I partnered up with a lady, Annie Marks, who had a big homeowners association company called May Management. And she basically runs about 200 of the top-end communities here, and I thought that would be a good place to have a real estate company tied to it. So, we got 5 different offices from anywhere, from Palm Coast up to the Jacksonville area. And then we specialize in what we're doing here with Peter is really a good investment arm, buying and selling homes and rentals. And Peter's got a great system that we work with him.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that for sure. And I think one thing I just want to tell or share with the audience about you, Pete, is the fact that you hate detail stuff. You're a relationship guy, and I think a lot of people are like that. They hate paperwork, but they might be good at relationships. And I think you have really taken your skill set of being able to develop long-term relationships very quickly, and you're able to build this thing. So that's awesome. Okay, all right. So Peter, what about you?
Well, again, my name is Peter Vexelman. I've been in the industry pretty much as long as Pete here. About 15 plus years. I guess my main focus is the investing side, and in that time frame, I've bought over 3,000 properties. Literally at this point scattered across the United States. I'm out of Georgia, so that's where my concentration is. I have a run rate right now of doing about 10 deals on a weekly basis. Also been a private hard money lender. Have an arm for building. So we built from the ground up, done literally hundreds of renovations, at a point in time, build up a rental portfolio to about 400 doors, ran a property management company. And really for the last several years, and maybe not that long, for the last number of years, my main point of this business has been
on figuring out how to merge successfully the retail side of the real estate industry, regular retail business, along with the real estate investing side. And I think at this point we've got it dialed in, and we're running on all cylinders, and have, on the retail side, listing agents that have, as a result of working with us for as short as 3 to 4 months, have upwards of 100, 120 listings. And, on the investing side, we fully embed them in that and how we acquire real estate. So, right now we're really staying very focused on merging both of the retail world and the investor world at the same time.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. And I think Peter, one of the things, I know my audience, I survey them all the time. I think when they hear your story, I think there's an immediate sort of gut response to just going, I can't do that. And even if they think they have the skill set to do it, at the end of the day, they'll go, well, I don't have the money to do that. So just really quickly, you have 400 doors, you do bridge loans, you've done hundreds of renovations. Is this all your money, or did you go out to the marketplace and raise it to do some of these things?
Both. In the last 4 to 5 years, I've self-funded. But I promise you, I've borrowed as much as any small investor, all the way to any large investor. I've, guaranteed loans and, done different types of financing from my end. And the bottom line is this, this is not a business that should ever scare anybody, because the reality is, a lot of times the reason people get scared is they look at the very tip of the mountain, and that looks scary. But, if you're starting out at ground zero with not a lot of money, let's face it, you don't got to do a lot of deals, and you don't have to make a lot of money to make a serious impact. And then really that's the key that I always recommend for people to do, is you focus on that next step. Don't focus on step 20, which could be, very tough to get to, but that next step is a lot easier to get to.
Okay. All right.
And Toby, Peter, it's interesting too, because the way that I met Peter was I was doing some wholesaling, and I was looking to fix and flip, and I was frustrated. I went to some courses, and it just was more information. Like, it just didn't tell me exactly how to do it. And so I just looked up Peter online. I paid quite a bit of money for him to be my coach. And then he goes, Pete, I'm thinking about doing this new program. I'll actually do the mailing for you. We have a team of negotiators. He's like, I do 60 houses a month flipping. And he goes, I'll do it with you. I'll mail into your marketplace. You give me the zip codes. And I was like, that's fine. But I was like, and he goes, I'll just take a percentage, of your cuts on it. And he did a mailer for us, our first mailer. I've never had so many phone calls, appointments, all that stuff. And we did 8 deals, like right off the bat with him. So, I mean, he's a marketing machine. I mean, they just do it. The best direct mail I've ever seen in my lifetime, and his negotiators are the best I've ever seen too.
So what is that model? I mean, I think people hearing this would go, "Oh, I'd love to, work with Peter in my market, or someone like Peter." Either one of you guys can address this. Peter, you meet Pete. You see something in Pete, and you decide to take a risk on him. And I think I don't want to derail this too much, but I think one of the big missing pieces out there is everybody is, for the most part, at least in the world of real estate, they're so scared of spending money on marketing. So they're like, I don't know if I'm going to get it back, right? So they don't do it.
Yep.
And you, on the other hand, I mean, you went one step further, Peter, that you took a risk on Pete. So what was it that you saw in Pete that you were, that you made him that offer?
Well, look, let me explain to you what our model looks like,
okay.
And then it's very easy based upon just knowing what Pete himself brings to the table. It's funny how you describe Pete. I describe him, he's a rainmaker. I mean, you don't have to spend much time with the guy to know the guy. He's got a huge upside in terms of just his charisma, in terms of the contacts he's got and all this. So in the end, that's what I saw. But basically, this is how our model works, and this is how we expand it and grow it. But I'll explain to you how my Atlanta business works, and this is what we replicate across the United States with other individuals. But basically what happens is we do a tremendous amount of marketing. Just to give you an idea, on a daily basis here in my Atlanta office, we get anywhere upwards of about 1,000 seller calls of people looking to sell their properties to us.
A month?
And then I have basically a day.
A day, okay.
A day,
okay.
Exactly right. And so what happens, and I have basically people that field these calls from 8 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. And this is where our model gets so unique, and this is why there's such a tremendous opportunity in terms of us expanding this model and why people are trying to get in and do this with us. So here's what happens. So then my negotiators, not people that answer the calls, when they talk to the sellers, we go with a very consultative approach. We basically let them know that there is a number of things we do here. A, we're an investment company, so we literally have the ability to buy your property. B, we have investors all over the world that are looking for real estate. We have the ability to move the property to them. C, all the way down to the fact that we could just list your property. And so what they're doing at that point is they're building rapport with the client on a very consultative approach. Right away, we set ourselves apart from any real estate agency out there, meaning that, an average person that's getting a call from a real estate agent, that it's all about listing. We're telling the sellers there's different opportunities with us. I mean, we could literally just show up at your door and give you a cash offer. So it's very easy for us to set appointments. And then what happens, our agents work in quadrants throughout the city. And so each agent gets anywhere from 2 to 5 of these appointments set on a daily basis. So they're qualified, they're set, they know the information. And so when the agents, the realtors go into these houses, again, it's a very consultative approach. They figure out what is the opportunity. One opportunity could be very simple, based upon what you're asking, Mr. Seller, we could buy this property, and here's the contract, and here's the purchase price. If that doesn't work, they have the ability then to convert it into a listing. So basically the goal of the agent at that point is to walk out either with a purchase contract for us to buy or a listing contract, okay? And just let me give you some numbers of how phenomenal this model is. I have agents that have been doing this with us, and we have a team environment we built this through. I have one agent that's been doing this with us for about 4 or 5 months. She's got 130-plus listings. We're just going over some numbers. We have another agent that started on our team 25 days ago. She's at 23 listings in the first 30 days. We got another agent that just came out of school, literally didn't even know how to spell the word real estate, just came out of the real estate school, and his first 30 days, he's already got 9 listings as a result of doing that. So we're building an incredible real estate retail team, obviously. Our goal is to become the largest in the country doing this. And So that's what happens from the retail side or the investor side. And then if the contract is brought back to us from a purchase side, then there's a multitude of things we do here as an investment company. A, we could buy it, fix it, and sell it. 90% of them we just wholesale to investors all over the world, and we got a very strong model set up for that. Or if that listing presentation just turns into a regular retail listing, then obviously that agent takes it towards the retail side. So that's really how the model works. It's a marketing, consultative approach, retail or wholesale, retail or investment deal, and then depending which quadrant it is, that's what happens to the property. So that's kind of a nutshell how the model works.
Okay, that's well. I want to get into it. I mean, that is sort of just a meat and potatoes version. I want to dig into it a little bit. But so just so I understand what you're trying to accomplish, Peter. Are you trying to build, and I've talked about this on the show, are you trying to build like the first national brand in real estate? I mean, as a team, I mean, certainly there's Coldwell, Remax, Keller Williams as brokerages, but there is no national brand in terms of a team. Is that what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, here in the Georgia market, we are doing it under our own umbrella. We're running it through, the retail side goes through a Century 21 office, and we're running it's kind of our own show. But now look at Pete Cook. So we meet Pete. He's in Florida, right? So now Pete steps up to the plate. And you're like, well, why did you want to work with Pete? Well, because when Pete saw what we're doing and saw the opportunity, he said, well, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do this all day long. I mean, I got a bunch of agents. I got a bunch of hungry people. I wanted to have a bunch of listings. I want to do a bunch of investment deals. So what happens when I go into a different market, now we're going under Pete Cook's umbrella there, okay? Now, the interesting thing is we're still doing all the marketing out of Atlanta because nobody knows how to do marketing to the level we do. So we're deploying marketing into the Jacksonville market and St. Augustine market, which is where Pete Cook is from. We're taking all the inbound calls that are coming in right back here into our Atlanta office, And then instead of those, let's say, appointments or leads being set for our own team in Georgia, which is what we're developing, just a Georgia-based team, now they're being set for Pete Cook's office, May Real Estate in Jacksonville. So we become, in that partnership, we become the marketing arm. He becomes basically the acquisition/sales side, because then they're going in there, they're evaluating, and they also then not only on the acquisition secure the deals, lock the deals up, whether it's in the retail side or the investor side, but then we also give them the ability to then sell these properties for us on the back end. And that's where, we work with them developing an incredible wholesale model there where they have investors all over the world. So anyone listening today that's got themselves or has clients from anywhere that may want to do some deals in Florida, they need to be on the horn with Pete, because Pete's got some unbelievable deals as a result of our partnership together. So that's how I would grow. So that's how I expand this model, by partnering up with local entities that want to develop these large teams.
So, and Toby, real quick to back up a little bit though, like I was doing wholesaling on my own, and I was really, you go and you learn, and if no one knows about wholesaling, just look it up. You can, listen to podcasts on it, but it's a type of investing where you flip the property before you close, essentially.
You flip the contract.
The contract, I'm sorry, yeah. And so, I was learning it, and I did good on a couple. I couldn't get any traction. And I was like, and there's some tricky things when you're in real estate and doing it. So, I got Pete as my coach. He starts, he's very intense. And the one down out, he does about 100 wholesales a month. I don't know anybody who does that much. He might be at the most, I don't know. But when he goes, and so, he starts coaching me and starts doing the marketing, and I was so shocked that we really, I was shocked. I spent $5,000 on the marketing and it actually worked. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden the phone, it wasn't even just like the calls were calling my office. His person in his office, Julie Hicks, who's the best I've ever seen at negotiating things. She's sending over properties to me with the address. The person wants to meet me. They want an asking price of this, and I was like, is this for real? And so we weren't converting as fast, and Peter goes, like, this is about a year ago. He goes, Pete, your market's incredible for this. I've never seen anything like it. If you don't get your act together doing it, then I'm going to come down there and do it myself. So we end up trying to go do it on our own. Peter and I kind of separate. He ends up coming into Jacksonville and doing it. And he calls me up again, and somehow I got contacted by Julie. She goes, listen, we got so many extra leads. We got a guy doing the wholesale side first, but would you be interested in helping us with the retail side? So I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, what are you talking about? How many leads? They have 1,000 phone calls of people that want to be called and are waiting for an appointment with a realtor. And I said, Julie, and I said to him, I'll do whatever you guys want. I'll do whatever. I've never seen anybody market like you guys do. I've never seen anybody really convert. A lot of people talk a talk, even coaches. A lot of times it's just a program, but they're not really doing deals themselves.
Yep.
And so we got involved with them, and now it's evolved. I have 10 people dedicated to Peter doing all these things because, we had something like 70 listings right now with them. We got another ton of leads. We got appointments set for next month for the retail side of things, and we probably have closed together in the last 3 months, probably 35, 40 deals. So, that's, he's really intense.
And look, I think people hearing this are going, what's the catch? Like this, this is like the dream, right? This is what people want. Like, hey, you know what? I don't want to, I'm not risking my capital, in marketing. I don't really have to work. I just get a phone call, or an email, and I go, okay, I got to show up and close this guy. So, look, who wouldn't want to do this? What's the catch? I'm Peter. I'm gonna have to ask you some hard questions here, but what is it? There's got to be, what's the hook?
Well, look, the bottom line is this: the only reason we've developed this model, I'm banking that this is the way real estate's going to be done. I think the way of the old brokerage model where you come in and, that's all gone. So on the retail side, for brokers to become successful, they have to start providing these ancillary services, like we're doing. We're creating appointments. We're setting, deals for our agents and all this. So number one, I think this is the wave of the future. Number two, I'm only doing this as a nice guy as I am, okay? As nice guy as I am, I'm doing this to make money. The catch is very simple. If somebody from Wyoming wants to do this with us, and we send them 100 leads, or we set 100 appointments for them, and they're in closing deals, The catch is I'm going to do exactly what I did with Pete go around. I'm just going to go in that market. I'm going to just go terrorize it myself and make a ton of money there myself. So I'm doing this. Look, when we expand and we grow, we want to work with the absolute top-line people that don't want to go from 3 listings to 5 listings. We want to work with people that want to have, hundreds and hundreds of listings. We want people that are 100% dedicated to what we do, because in the end, because of the strengths of our marketing, we just look what happened to Pete's office. Pretty much everything he does is now dedicated to what we do.
Yeah.
So the catch is they got to do what is expected, and that is convert, make money, identify deals for us to buy, and make sure it all comes together in a precise, good way.
And Toby, the biggest catch is you got to execute. You got to have good people to execute. I mean, when we're going out to the properties, and we've talked privately off there, we're going out to the properties to price them. We got inspectors. We have to line up all these different entities, because there's a lot of volume. And when Peter's going to go buy a deal, we got to be right on the price. We don't get paid unless they sell. So, in the retail side, that just became like an extra bonus thing, because they were taking all these calls that they couldn't get the properties. If you're an investor, you really want to get in the properties at about 65% of whatever current value is.
Yep.
And, a lot of the people want to sell, but they just don't want to sell at that price, or they're not in a position. So that's how the retail side even evolved. So there's a lot of execution on it. It's a great marketing system, but it's not like a 1 or 2. It's a very it's intense, and it's a numbers game. I mean, you need to have the people. You need to have the people that can execute. You need to have a good team.
Sure. No, and I guess.
And by the way, let me throw one other thing in this, because at this point, this is pretty much taken off like wildfire. You mentioned something. Well, there's no expense. We're actually now going into a mode where we are charging up front.
Yeah.
I mean, we had probably some of our largest brokers in the nation, whose names, if I throw out, you guys probably would know, because the industry you're in, are now contacting us to do this. So now we're charging them, a setup fee and all that. It's a commitment fee. I mean, we're not doing this to go through the motions. We're doing this to make a lot of money together. So if we're going to commit, if I'm committing the resources, the people, the personnel, the payroll, the marketing to do this, I'm going to, in most cases, I'm going to want an equal commitment from whoever we do this with.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of how I was thinking. I kind of see this as a little bit of a kind of a franchise model. Right? You come in, you throw $50,000 down, or what? I'm just making that up for everybody listening. I don't know what the buy. So let me ask you this. Okay, so there's a setup fee, which makes total sense. I think, and I'll tell you, man. I know you do hard money loans. I mean, I back in 08, 09, and 10. I managed I raised $12 million. I put $1 million of my money in, and that's all we did. We did bridge loans, and I can tell you that and I'm sure you're the same way, Peter. I won't do a deal with somebody, a bridge loan, unless they have some skin in the game. No matter how good the deal looks, acquisition of whatever, unless you have money in the deal, I won't do it. Too easy for you to walk away. So I think that's at some point necessary for you to attract and retain the best people. So let's talk about what type of markets this works best in. Now, Pete, St. Augustine. It's not Miami, right? You mentioned Wyoming, right? Some little 100,000 person market, Casper, Wyoming. So I want to know from you, what are the market characteristics where this works best? But before you get to that, I'm in San Diego. This is appealing, obviously, to me, appealing to everybody, I'm sure, listening. Would your program work in a San Diego 2.4 million people?
All right, so let me give you some specific numbers on this, okay? Number one, when we initially rolled this model out, we actually rolled it out in the California market. San Diego, we did some Los Angeles and all this. I actually purposely pulled out of it, and this is like a crazy reason. This is why we kind of redid ourselves and upped all our pricing, because here's what was happening. I have to get the exact numbers on this, but the people we started doing this in your area, they were paying us like $10-20 a month, and they were making like $250 a month as a result. We're doing it. Yeah, so we pulled out on them. We're like, this is crazy. We're doing so much more work, so much more effort. We're doing, we know what we're doing. And so we pulled out, and we'll again re-engage now that we priced ourselves. But now let's go to other extreme. Let's go cross country to Myrtle Beach. a little town that's, really not that big of an area. Believe it or not, one of the most successful real estate brokers in the nation is based out of Myrtle Beach. Now, here's the guy that's working in a nowhere near San Diego, but he actually has one of the top, actually in one of the nationally recognized brands. He is the top broker in the nation out of working a very small market. Matter of fact, we're now working with him, killing it in that market by introducing our systems. But before he even met me, he was already the big deal. So bottom line is this. Sure, market conditions affect certain things. They affect prices. They affect quantity of inventory. They affect those things. But the biggest impact on what we do is exactly that. It's what we do and how much we could squeeze out of something. Okay? So if you have a guy in Wyoming living in a 50,000, population town, that guy's smart enough to know that if he's going to be a realtor there, he's probably not going to have 8,000 listings. So his expectations are, hey, I want to be the biggest here, and being biggest here may only have, 400 listings. Whereas the guy like you in San Diego in a million, where there's millions of population, your expectations, because you already live there, before you even meet me, you say, look, I have a huge opportunity here. So there, we're going to try to get you to maybe a couple thousand listings in your team. So you have to be smart, and you have to understand where it is you live and what's happening there. And people that we work with, they understand. If you live in population 50,000, there's only so much you can do. If you live in population 2.5 million, there's only so much you can do there too.
And Toby, real quick though too, one of my experiences with Peter and just knowing and being an investor first, even why I even wanted a real estate company was just for better deals and look, as an investor. And I belong to a mastermind group, Go Abundance, which you introduced me to. And a lot of it is all about passive income, how to get to passive income. So when you start digging into that stuff, like Jacksonville market, for instance, our numbers are really good for investors still. They're really good. And the numbers go there. So it really is a unique situation. And I know for this situation over here, where it hits is you got a big investor market to sell to. And then you also have there's also good agents in the area that can go work it. So, that's it's a really nice kind of combination with Peter, because he's an investor first. He's always looking for the properties to buy first, and the byproduct is he ends up setting up a ton of appointments for you for regular listings as well.
So, right, okay. Getting into the mechanics a little bit, right? So, Peter and his company, they have the infrastructure. They know how to market, and I want to learn more about your thoughts on copy and frequency and types of marketing. But let's just set that aside for a second. In terms of the mechanics, right? So earlier, you both guys said, or Cook, Pete, you said, you got to be able to execute. But I think in addition to being, having a team and being able to execute, you got to have. Look, you might be an agent and completely know the retail side of things, right? You know how to price it, you know how to find comps, so that's fine. But when it comes to the other two legs, and this is for you, Peter, you have the investment piece, you have the wholesaling arm, and then you have the retail, which is a listed property. That's a skill set that not everybody has. So as well as, and I know I'm gonna combine questions here, Peter, because I know you're gonna go off on this, and so I, as an agent, may not have that skill set of knowing how to properly, look at a house other than and price it for an investor, or know what is attractive for an investor in terms of location, infrastructure in terms of neighborhoods, parks, closeness to shopping centers, whatever, employment across the, in the marketplace. So again, that's a skill set, and then the other thing these people don't have is the back end of it, which are actual investors. Even if I found a deal, right? Most of these people, even if I found a deal, they don't know where to find money. They don't know how to reach people with money. So, again, I just blurted out a bunch of crap. Maybe just address that as well as you can, Peter.
All right. Well, look, again, you're looking at, the Rolls Royce of this model. I developed the model, I run the model, and I'm going to do it better than anyone else in the country. But let's say you are that agent that says, you know what? I don't want to worry about the investing side of the world. But hell, if I can team up with somebody and pick up 400 listings in the next year and bring another 3 to 4 team members on board that could do that, I want to do that. That's fine. See, the great thing about this model is that, again, even though we've taken it to this extremely, extremely high level, is you could piecemeal this model. You could take the reverse of it. You could be a big-time investor that has money to put into a marketing engine, right? And you could say, forget the retail listings, although we'll show you how to capitalize them if we work with you. You should never forget them. But you could almost make those as throwaway listings. And out of that, like, by the way, in San Diego, that's what happened. All the money those guys were making, those were investors that hired me. They were making so much money utilizing our engine on the marketing, on the investing side. We were telling them, you're throwing away all this money. And they didn't care. But, when you're making a couple $100,000 a month, you don't care too much about making an extra 30 and 40 a month. So, again, I've taken all facets of this model and brought it all under the roof because I do have the skill set on the investing side, on the retail side, the marketing side. But this model could be, put together. Beyond that, let's be honest, most of the reason that people become successful in life is not because they get to a certain point in their life and then they start learning and understanding. So the other thing we offer is a coaching component to this whole thing. So you could get a real estate agent, actually a guy out of Texas hired us yesterday, and he's got, I think, several hundred listings. I know he's got over several hundred listings already. And he said, Pete, I want to get my several hundred listings to several hundred more. But at the same time, I need to introduce this wholesale piece. So he hired us to actually coach him through how to implement. He's not going to need a ton of coaching from us on the retail side. Where he needs us there is on the marketing side, conversion side and all that. But where he's going to benefit from our coaching is we're going to actually insert right into his own model back in Texas this wholesale piece. So we're going to teach him how to do it, teach him how to develop the investors, teach him how to identify those deals. You see what I mean? So that's the other thing we bring to the table and why we do charge the kind of money we do. We don't just take what you got and utilize it. We have the ability to say, okay, you want to take it to the next level? Here's how you do it. Here's how you develop the retail side. Here's how you develop the wholesale side. Here's how you evaluate. Here's how you negotiate. Here's how you find the investors. All of that across board.
So okay, and that's great. But I guess from a practical sense, a pragmatic view, it seems to me that somebody's going to be burning a lot of marketing dollars because again, you can't just this model works because it has all three legs, right? And if you're spending that same kind of marketing and only focusing on the retail side of it, you're leaving a bunch of money on the table, or you're not optimizing your full marketing spend. So early on, right? So you onboard this guy from Texas. Okay, he doesn't know how to flip contracts, and which you can. That's not rocket science. You can teach somebody that pretty quickly. So once he learns it, now he needs to find somebody to wholesale these people too. Do I tap, or does that guy tap into your current network of investors?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, that if we happen to have something in Texas, absolutely, he's welcome to do that, and we will do that for him. Okay. But on the other hand, a guy who's already as successful as he is, he's not looking to piggyback off something that's being done behind the scenes. He's looking to take control and do it himself. So he's the guy that's going to say, no, show me how to develop my own. Because, see, when you're piggybacking off someone else, you're limited by what it is they do. When you know how to do it yourself, your limits are erased. So we will actually, yes, to a degree, if the opportunity arises, we will show him how to piggyback off our own stuff. But most importantly, we're going to teach him how to develop a crazy-ass big database himself that'll never limit him.
Right.
Yeah, and Toby, though, the one thing when you're doing the wholesale things that, when you're looking for properties, investors know the numbers. And when you start getting deals negotiated, because you're doing the comps, you're going out there, you really know. And you get a couple of deals from Peter that he's wholesaling, he's only doing it if it's below market value. So when you start even just posting these things on your MLS and social media and calling people that are investors, because remember, anyone can be an investor. They don't have to live there. When you start even just putting them out there, your database grows with investors very fast. And there's systems of how to to do it, that he'll show you, and we could show him and everything else. But I mean, that's the reality of it is when you get a great property, the buyers come.
Yeah, and you know what? You're 100% right. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you have a deal, there's money everywhere, especially if you have a deal that's 65 cents on the dollar, right? Or even 70 cents, 80 cents on the dollar. Okay, so then is pricing some of these things? Well, look, so how do I hire you, Peter? I'm going to hire you here in San Diego. Now, I'm not going to ask what those numbers are. We can talk because I am curious, and I'd love to chat with you when we get off of the recording itself. But how? There's got to be some other than me just paying you for your expertise. You're a smart guy. That's not. You have to be taking some of the float here, right? What are the components for you? How do you guys make money to grow this thing into more markets, other than just getting a monthly check from me to do your magic?
Well, again, there's different ways to set this whole model up. For instance, the way I'm working with Pete right now, okay? With him, we're actually partaking in we're doing a profit share on all the deals that are happening, both in the retail side and the wholesale side, okay? That's one way of doing it. Another way to do it is actually exactly the way you said it. It's say, okay, here's a chunk of money. Show me show me how to do this up. And we have an actual program. We put you through a coaching program where you actually have the ability to come visit our office, see how things are, watch how things are done. You're talking to either myself or somebody from my office every week, 2 to 3 times a week. And we literally, it's like buying a McDonald's. We literally step by step show you how to replicate this model. So yeah, we could do it anywhere from something like that, where we're hands off the profits, to some kind of a thing that we're doing with Pete, where we're actually participating on the profit side also. So look, I'm doing this, or we're doing this to expand, to grow, to capture more market share. And the one thing I learned is that if you're not flexible in life and how you do it and who you work with, you're probably going to leave too many opportunities on the table. So we're flexible to discussions.
So, okay. So let's get into what the magic is, right? So Pete, said earlier that, I've never seen anybody do marketing like you guys have. So I know you don't want to give away your secret sauce, but maybe can you sketch out what a typical, I'm sure you have multiple campaigns during the month, but what would a typical month look like in terms of types of marketing, and then we can get into copy and frequency and all that stuff. But what do you, online, offline, what do you do?
Look, there is no secrets to marketing. No one's ever come up, we all know what kind of marketing could be done for real estate, okay? There's direct mail, there's signs, there's, you can get leads from realtors. You could, develop a bird dog team. We do the exact same thing that broke investor does, or that marketing guy does that never gets any results. What separates us is how we do it. Our execution of doing direct mail, of doing phone calls, is beyond anything that anyone's ever done before. That's all. But we're doing the same thing. We're doing the exact same. We're doing making calls. We're doing direct mail. As if, except the guy that's broke, he's getting 1% response. We're getting 20% response. See, it's just our execution is at an extremely high level that really has not been duplicated by anyone else that does this.
And the quantity that you send out, they send out the quantity that they actually mail. Where most people say they'll do a mailer and then they skip a month and then they do another. I only got one lead. Where you really, it's it's frequency sending it out. And being diligent, and then not tripping, not over analyzing. Hey, I'm only going to mail to this list. I'm only going to mail to that. Yep. Looking for the perfect deal. They know if the person calls, they got a good shot at negotiating. And Peter, a lot of times, and I don't know with the other markets, but I know with like us, Peter wants that deal, to flip himself. So he's on there trying, we're doing 40 comps for him a day. He's trying to buy it first. The retail side's just extra. You know what I mean? So like he's in it with you in that market because that's how he grows to get more deals.
Yeah. So let me back up for a second, just so I completely understand your value chain, Peter. So, earlier we talked about, onboarding or growing your list with investors. Now, and again, if you have a deal, that's like investors will find you. Earlier, when we first started this call, you mentioned that you have a team, right? You do the marketing, the inbounds from Pete's Market in St. Augustine are going to your Georgia office. You have a team of appointment setters and negotiators. Is that something, this new guy in Texas, are you encouraging him to go and build a back office like that, or will all these people be?
It all depends. All depends, because I don't know who the new guy is. The guy in Texas that actually did hire us already has that set up. He's already got hundreds of listings. He's already got agents. He's already got back office. So we're just going to introduce this wholesale piece into that whole infrastructure. So with him, we're going to fine-tune his marketing, because he could capitalize more on his marketing. We're going to fine-tune how they get their agents into the door. And then once in the door, we're going to fine-tune their presentation to be able to identify investor type of deals. That's what we're doing for him.
Okay, so with what you're doing, right? Investments, wholesaling, retail, it's all in the listing side. So I have to think, when I asked earlier about the channels that you use for marketing, I have to think that there's going to be an imbalance between very offline things, direct mail, phone calls, as opposed to online, which typically online is all, buyer leads. Is that accurate, or how would you address that?
Well, are you saying that there are different results from different marketing?
No, of course, right? So, most online leads, you have companies that do online leads for you, whether it's Google pay-per-click, Facebook ads, whatever, they're Boomtown, Commissions Inc., right? TorchX, there's all these, but those leads are typically 90% of them, 95% of them are on the buyer side. Those are buyers looking for properties. And those have very long gestation cycles, 12 to 18 months. You are looking for, number one, all on the listing side. And I have to believe that, the kind of marketing they send out is direct response oriented, right? You want to sell, pick up the phone right now and call us.
So, yes, the answer to your question is well, kind of, yes. First of all, we do not go after buyer leads, because those are dime a dozen, as you know. Most of them never come true. They waste a lot of gas, time, money, aggravation, all this. Again, the uniqueness of what we do is we go after the seller side. And on the seller side, those are the golden nuggets. That's what everybody wants. So we go after the seller side. And I forget, what was your second question? What was the second part of the question?
Well, so my question was, I think it's pretty clear with what you're doing that you are going after the sellers and not the buyers. So that's right. So we got that. What I'm saying is, going after the sellers, you have to be doubling down on the phone calls, direct mail. I'm trying to get a sense of what, again, if somebody wants to sign up with you, what are they going to get? Like, where is your magic, right? Is it in creating awesome handwritten letters, to people and saying, hey, look, I'll buy your house?
Who cares?
Okay.
The bottom line is we're going to give them a legitimate seller. How we do it behind the scenes, that's up to us. That's totally irrelevant. We're going to give them a legitimate seller that raises their hand and says, holy crap, I want to sell. I want to see someone. We do it in various ways. We do it better than anyone else. Now, if somebody comes in on the coaching side, then we actually teach them specifically what we do and how we do it, and in the paraphernalia we use, and the marketing strategies and all that. But if somebody's coming in strictly, let's say, on a partnership side, then we do it ourselves, and what we do and how we do it is behind the scenes. But the bottom line is, those people don't care. They're just interested in the lead. How do you really care how your engine runs, or do you really care how Zillow's algorithms work?
Right.
It's all about the quality of the lead. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to with us.
I agree. I 100% agree. So again, the distinction you made there, which I was not clear before. So you have your model, and again, I know you said earlier you need to be flexible, but so we could either partner with you, in which case you're going to do the work. It's completely outsourced, and I just have to execute. Or people could approach you on the coaching side, where you will teach them and give them the strategy and tactics for them to.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Interesting.
Yep, that's correct. Both sides are going to cost them money, just so I don't get flooded with calls.
Yeah.
So if somebody's looking, to spend their last $3,000 wisely, I'm not there. They don't want to go in my direction.
Yeah. And Toby, it's not for everybody on it. And like, here's the thing with, and for people like me that if you knew, I'm more or less, I don't care how it gets done. I just want to go out and do it.
Right.
The coaching's great. I have so much information in my head though, already. You still got to execute it. So if I could take out half the execution part where the mailing's done for me, the calls are taken, the appointments are set. Now I'm just organizing the database and, organizing my team to go out on it. And I get the investor. I'm getting in front of more deals. I like, the partnership side worked for me. And I coached with them. I did both sides, but for me. But for a guy who's got a great team, maybe the guy in Texas, for instance, like the coaching, he's already got everything. And he probably can execute it all. He's probably got a great mailing system. He's probably got a great, admin person, whatever.
Doubtful.
It is,
Doubtful he's got a great mailing system. But I'm sure he has systems and processes. But in general, real estate agents are terrible at marketing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I honestly, like, it's like a godsend. Like, even if I do a mailer now, I call up Julie just to even do it. I'll say, I'm doing this mailer for a community that, that has nothing to do with you guys. Can I just pay you and you just get it done for me?
Right. You love that. That's your thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's like for someone like me,
So Peter, let me ask you this. You gave me some numbers, right? One girl or guy, I forget what, they've been with you 4 to 5 months, and you gave me some ungodly number of listings, like 110 listings or something crazy. Then you said I think it was a girl that's been with you for 30 days. She has 23 listings. And then there's a guy that I think he said has been with you for like a week and has 9 listings. These 3 people, Peter, are they doing the coaching with you, or are they doing the partnering?
No, they're actually on our team here in Georgia.
I see.
I was just giving an example of the power of our leads. The strength of these appointments that we set. How solid they are.
So, okay, and my follow-up question. Go ahead, Peter.
And Toby, real quick, I have a guy, because I've had to just grab agents because we have too many leads on the retail side. Like, I really focus for Peter on his investment side. And then, I'm growing it as we're going. But to get people that are really hungry to go do it, because, again, people don't believe it's that good. And the person that he has up in Georgia, I talk with her frequently, who has 125 listings. She's one of the top agents up there. And, she just was like, yeah, it really is. These retail leads are incredible. And I have a new guy that, is 23 years old, Ronnie Ward, and he's got 15 listings, in 2 weeks.
That's insane. Everybody, why? I mean, look, let me ask you look, guys, normally I've been on the phone with you for 46 minutes. Normally we cut these off at about 60 minutes. Are you guys open to spending some extra time with me?
I got a little time, not a lot of time, but I got a little time.
All right. So look, let me ask you this. This is just for me. Peter, so, and if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to, but in terms of your marketing channels, is radio and television ever a component, or is it all more directed at,
Possibly.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So look, why everybody's going to want to do this? I don't know one person who would say, oh yeah, that doesn't appeal to me. What is the hurdle? Because who knows? I mean, look, I don't know if you're going to give a phone number, an email, and I don't think you should give a phone number. But you're going to get a ton of response. So what's the hurdle?
Well, again, remember, this is not something, whether you do it on a partnership end or do it from a coaching end. This is not something that if you're one single agent that has no listings, no money, no charisma, no nothing going for you, and you're like, well, that sounds great. Toby said this is a no-brainer. This is for people that want to really grow really large businesses, like a Pete Cook, like what we're developing here. One of the largest will ultimately, I think, become the largest team in the nation. Okay, so you got to be a big thinker. So which leads back to you got to put money into this whole thing. So if you don't have a minimum of 30 to 50 to spend, $1,000, it ain't even worth contacting me.
In what time? What, 30 to 50 in a year, in a month?
Probably over about a 4 to 5 month period.
Got it. Okay. And let's say that I'm like, oh yeah, hey Peter, I have 50 grand. I want to do it, and whatever. You say, okay, Toby, yeah, that sounds good. You might be a good fit. what is, because again, we do radio, and every time I get on a phone call, people go, okay, what's my return that I can respect, and when does it happen? So I don't know if you can address those, at some general level.
Well, again, because let's just focus on the retail side, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say somebody brings us on board strictly to increase their current listings. Well, that person should know what the turnaround is in their market. So we could implement marketing within 2 weeks. We could start setting, let's say within 3 weeks, we can have a launching sequence that'll start generating appointments for them. From the time appointments are set, you could literally get an appointment the very first day. Get a listing the very first day. But every person in whatever market they're in knows that from that point on, there's a cycle. Your market have 190-day cycles. Some markets have 30-day cycles. So you just have to kind of be smart about it. But within, let's say from our end, within 2 to 3 weeks, we will be setting appointments for your people. On the investing side, it's probably a little bit quicker because on the investing side, the results are quicker. Let's say you're very focused on a wholesale model. We're cranking out appointments 2 to 3 weeks into the process. You lock your first deal up. You flip it within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And, within the first 60 days, you're making money. But it's like any other business. There's a ramp-up time. But let me tell you something. When you start understanding this, like, say, the retail side, and you got agents putting individually, 20 to 30 listings on a table a month individually, and you got yourself 20 agents, holy crap, who cares how long the startup time is? Look 6 months into the, look 12 months into the whole thing. Holy crap. It's a no-brainer.
I agree. So it sounds like it. So, okay, what about the return? I spend $30,000. I spend $50,000 with you in 5 months. So I'm spending $10,000 a month. That's not that big of a deal, at least for somebody like me. I'm giving you $10,000 a month. You're doing your magic. What's the earlier you said those people in San Diego were spending $10,000 or $20,000 and they were, they're getting a 15x return, right? They're making $250,000 a month.
Yeah, crazy numbers.
So what is a typical return? I spend $10,000. What?
Well, again, it depends. It depends if you're focused more on the retail side or the investor side. We all know there's more upside on the investor side. Although there's a lot more residual components on the retail side. So, it depends on the market, depends how much you're spending, but, you're spending, let's say, $10,000. It's hard. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
I just know it's going to be within 90 days, you should be profitable. Okay, within 90 days, you should be profitable. Okay. If you're, let's see.
Peter, let me ask you about this. Let me ask you, and I'm going to go kind of quick because I know we don't have a ton of time together, but on the investing side, there's investing. I buy it for 50 cents on the dollar. I'm just making this up, right? 50 cents on the dollar, and I'm selling it. I'm dumping it at 80 cents on the dollar, and that that 30% spread I'm pocketing. Now that's okay if I have the money. Like I'm looking at some of Pete's deals, and I can buy some of Pete's deals for dirt cheap compared to San Diego. Right. In San Diego, you need $300,000-$400,000 to average sale here is $500,000. So again, so if I'm going to wholesale, I can flip a contract, and I'm going to make a smaller portion. If I'm going to be an investor, I can either use my money or someone else's money, and kind of do that same thing, but I make less. What is your? And I'm trying to. Earlier, Peter, you said there's more upside in the investor piece of it. I want you to tease that out a little bit because I think people are going to maybe not quickly get that. So again, I'm trying to.
Well, I mean, just let's say you got $100,000 deal, right?
Yep.
If you got a $100,000 deal and you're listing that deal and you're making your 3% standard agent commission, you're making $3,000 in that $100,000 deal, right?
Yep.
On the investor side, if you got $100,000 you're spending, and in the back end you're only trying to make $3,000, you ain't going to do that deal. It don't even work.
Right.
So on the investing side, if you're doing a $100,000 deal, you're probably making closer to $10,000, maybe $15,000.
Yep.
So that's just the way numbers work. Okay. On the investing side, there's a lot more upside.
Okay.
Yeah, and the margins are, on the lower properties, the margins are a lot bigger. Like in Jacksonville here, like we were talking about the properties, Toby. We're pricing them, really good and low. And, a $40,000 deal, we might put on the market for $49,000. It's renting for $1,000 a month. It's it's set up with a renter that's fixed up, everything. that's $9,000 on 40,000. That's a pretty good margin.
Right.
Whereas
percentage-wise.
when I sell it and do the back end for Peter, I'm making $1,500 and he's making $9,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but it works both ways. There's so much volume on it. And then I look at the deals too. So it's another way of getting off-market deals as well that are really great deals. We're pricing them below REOs and below all the anything else, any inventory. So.
No, I love it. So Peter, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you?
Nope. I think if somebody at this point has listened to me talk brilliantly about this model for as long as I've talked and they still don't get it, then we do not need to go any further with that person. So you've done a great job doing what you did. I think Pete and I have done a very good job explaining what it is we do from our end. So at this point, if somebody's interested in discussing it further, then you just tell me what the call to action should be. And then I gotta go.
Okay, so I covered it. I didn't miss anything going over this.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. If somebody don't get it at this point, then too bad for them.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, look, for sure. Give us some qualifiers because I know this is not for everybody. So tell who. Give them a sense of don't call me if you're like this, and then tell them how to reach you.
Yeah, hey, and Toby, one other thing too, though. I know because of your listeners and everything too, though. One thing is that we got great investment properties, in the Jacksonville area.
Yep.
That if you're in a different market, we can pay co-brokes anywhere. So even if you have investors or you're looking for something, it's all turnkey. We got construction people that do. We got a rental company that takes care of it. So if you do, and you're looking for more inventory, you're just not able to get it. We'll pay co-brokes anywhere, as well. So that's one thing.
That is great.
That was,
yeah. And so so wherever you are, if you're in Waco, Texas or wherever, and you have an investor looking for deals, again, wherever you are, you can be in Denmark. Pete does have great deals. I just looked at 3 from your office yesterday, and they were literally $40,000. And they were kicking off $700 in income. I saw the contracts. I saw the leases. So thanks for throwing that in there. Again, everybody
and they're comped out at like 55. They're below market. So
I didn't know that.
The greatest part. Yeah, they're below market too. That's what we do. So you get an inside track on stuff. And if you're a big buyer, we'll work with you even more. Make sure you get them. So that's
let's do this because you guys got to absolutely spend a little more time on what Pete can do across the nation in terms of inventory he's carrying. But I got 20 people looking at me,
Peter.
That I got to get off the phone. So here, I'll make it really simple. Here it is. Minimum. Again, qualifier is simple. They better freaking understand what it is we do. That's the qualifier. Financial qualifier minimum 30 to 50K to work within the real estate business. And then their goal needs to be top. Wherever they are, they need to be the top. Best way to do it, my email's too complicated to explain on the phone. I'll give you my phone number. Do not call me. Text me why I should call you. 404-915-9685. That's 404-915-9685. It's Peter Vexelman. And again, I want you guys to spend more time because what Pete's got in terms of what we've developed in Marketplace is phenomenal. Anyone looking for inventory, fixer-uppers, turnkey deals, Pete's got it. Toby, I appreciate it. Anything else you need from me?
No, we're good, Peter. I appreciate it. And just for everybody, see you, pal. And everybody, listen.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. See ya. So, listen, Peter's, again, we have lots of listeners, and I want everybody to take advantage of this if it's right for you. So be kind to my guests, and I don't want 5,000 people texting him if you're a brand new agent, you have just hold off a year, and we'll probably be, we'll see how this comes along. We'll feature some people who to a year from now who are killing it. So that's it.
He's going to have to get a new cell phone, I think.
I know. That was a mistake. That was
a mistake. He's coaching by Peter. You can find him on the web too.
So, all right. So, Pete, let's talk Pete Cook. All right, man.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about what you have, because I think, again, it's an easy way for people to tap into inventory, right? And again, and I think one of the ways, as you out there, wherever you are in the world, as an agent, I'm an investor, right? And even that's how you are going to prove your value to me. Don't try to bring me some kind of, barely investable deal in San Diego when, you could tap into Pete Cook's awesome inventory in Jacksonville, Florida. So
yeah.
Go ahead, Pete.
And Toby, the way it kind of evolved too, as you know, I had to develop, I ran sales for a developer, and we did some really nice oceanfront communities. We just got done being involved with the Hard Rock that's getting built in Daytona Beach. And I would meet these people, and in the beginning, I was buying everywhere we went. We did stuff out in Lake Las Vegas, and I would know where we were pricing them when we did pre-construction condos. I'd buy early, and hopefully we raise prices, and I'd make some money.
Wow.
And I didn't realize, when the market crashed, and I did well, which was probably the biggest mistake, ever in the beginning. It's just the first time I went to a casino, I won at craps. It was probably the worst thing that ever happened to me, because then you lose the rest of the time. So when the market turned, though, and you're a speculator, and there's no income coming on, or you got a condo, $600,000 oceanfront condo, but it's turning $2,000 a month, your taxes are $25,000 a year, and HOAs are $700. You're just not able to hold. And in the market crash, it goes down to $300. It's craziness. But one of the things, though, that I learned just through people, and we've talked about it, was I was like, the interesting thing about doing investments and really specializing in real estate, I'm not going to be good at the stock market, but if I can find really good properties in my area, know the numbers that people are looking for, and just deliver, it seems, a little bit recession-proof, not to say it's totally, but at least you're in a cash-flowing game, and an investor could be anywhere.
Yeah.
In the country. And when I specialized in second homes, first off, the people had to be millionaires to buy or close to it to buy. So that eliminates a lot of people. And then they also had to want to be where they're buying, because a lot of our properties don't make sense unless you're going to go use them. They don't really cash flow to rent out half the time and everything else. But I kind of looked at it as one is for all these, realtors. We used to work with all the realtors. We do these events around the country because people from Chicago, everyone buys in Florida, no matter where you're from. Our clientele, 60% of the buyers are from out of state. So you get, someone in Chicago who just sold $1 million house. Well, they could sell a $500,000 condo, that we're doing and get paid $15,000, and just by referring it. So the same thing goes with these investors. If we do a good job turnkey in the Jacksonville, Florida market, you could just have built-in inventory for a guy that might has $1 million a place with you, but you just can't find property.
Yep. Especially in a market like mine, San Diego,
Yeah.
You know what I didn't ask Peter and I meant to, and he really got into a rush at the end of this, but and I'll ask you, and I'll just get your viewpoint, because I know you're working with Peter, is I'll ask you this question through telling you a story. So we, as you know, we do radio. I'll use Denver for an example. Denver in spring, we were doing an offer. We were saying, hey, Pete's going to sell your house in 30 days or you pay nothing, right? You pay him nothing. That was working. Now, as we got further into summer, and in Denver, it just was notorious. That stopped working because everybody knew. They're like, I don't need to get that guaranteed offer, guaranteed sale in 30 days, because everything in my market is, getting multiple, at asking price in the first 3 or 5 days. So then we changed the offer to Pete's going to sell your house in 10 days or you pay nothing. Okay. That started working again, but for a short window. And here's my question. And then we had to change the offer. My question to you, Pete, and just what's your take on this? Will what Peter does, will it work in a super hot market as well as a sluggish market?
Yes, I think because they're direct mailing the people to buy their houses. You know what I mean? That's the first, line, and they do a really good job negotiating. They do a really good job, and they're very genuine in wanting to buy the properties. It's not a fake scam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the one thing that's big with this, and that's what when we talked about the radio, and what we're going to do here with you was what I asked. I said, can we do radio geared more towards buyers than actually sellers? I go, Toby, I got so many listings, I don't even know what to even do right now. I got the leads, and I'm telling you, I've done a lot of different aspects of this business, and I just know how hard it is to get a lead, a good warm lead that you're not working all day long that's going to pick up the phone. They're expecting you to call them, to go to that appointment,
That's amazing.
And so that was my issue, even with growing my team. I'm looking for more agents that are really good closers, and That's the thing. And Peter's intense. I mean, it's intense. It's not like it's just, hey, this is a great lead system. He's usually invested in there with you, and you got to perform, or else he doesn't get paid. None of us get paid until, deals close.
Right.
Even if you get the listing and you're pricing them wrong, it still doesn't matter. No one gets paid, until it sells. I mean, that's how we eat,
Yep.
So really, like with him in any market and what he's really looking for, when we talked about it, and I've identified some people, a great agent in this thing understands the investment game, can build up a good buyer's list, can go get them, because we want to move these quick, and has a good team, and they also understand the listings. I mean, I've had to jumpstart, portions of this, but I really did know the wholesaling game very well. So we were able to build our cash buyer list, and our investor list relatively quickly. But we worked our tails off to do it. I throw investor parties. I get out there. I have a radio show. You know that, and I know a lot of people around the country that are just our investors. I just didn't have great deals for them yet, to go do. Then I had to build up liaisons with a good rental company, a great rental company, not a good one, because if you buy from California, I want to make sure you're taken care of and the accounting's done. Then I had to build up a good rapport with a construction company, because when you get into fix and flip and you try to do it yourself, you learn that contractors, it's tough to, if you don't know the business, it's tough to do it. So I know the business. I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at connecting people. I'm not good at that stuff. I'm not good with the details. So it takes a lot more than just saying, hey, I'm going to do it. But I also know from guys I'm around, a lot in the country, been exposed to, there's a lot of realtors that get all that, and it would be really easy. If they're the top agent in there, they'll adapt to it quickly,
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So I think we're good. I mean, I think we've gotten the point across that, if somebody has an investor and they're in wherever in the nation, that you're available and you have lots of deals. And I think one thing that I always have to try to be careful, Pete, not to try to be a commercial for you. But I think in this case, I know you personally, I've looked at some of your deals. I know that you're going to take care of people. So, again, I guess what I'm saying is, for everybody listening, I totally endorse Pete. If you have an investor, Pete will try to help that person. He's not going to try to, meet your, you make the intro. You don't have to be worried that you're going to intro Jimmy, your investor, to Pete. And maybe Jimmy has $1 million. He goes and buys a couple, $50,000 houses. Pete's not going to try to take that guy away from you. Pete wants to keep you in the loop. Pete wants to make both you and Jimmy happy. So, anyhow, so I wanted to get that out there.
Yeah. And as a realtor, I didn't come from the general brokerage or the real, I came from the developer side. So I loved when people sent me leads, because, I wanted when you work for a developer, there's a lot of pressure to sell your inventory. So the best way to get it out is through realtors, so we travel all over and work with them. And then secondly, we're a numbers game. I mean, Peter's, we're trying to do 100 a month. So if I don't have good realtors sending me deals, it takes me longer to do it. There's a lot of execution, and if I know there's a good broker, even if you want to see I like working with the realtors, because I am one and I am an investor, so I love giving them to people before we're even ready to put it online. I like to have them see it so that they can look good in front of their client, and tell them. I mean, that's the idea, so that this is long term.
Cool. Well, listen, man. I think that's it for me. Is there anything that you want to add? And if not, we'll just tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's it for me.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, look. I mean, I think two things, Pete. I think number one, hopefully, people understand that this is an opportunity that what you have is an opportunity. Number one, and that they reach out to you. Number two, I would not be surprised, especially with my audience. My guys are, they're out there hungry. They want to grow. But we have a boatload of people who are either just getting their license or just refiring up their license. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said, a few people said, hey, Pete, I'll move out to St. Augustine. Let me join your team and do that for a year or two. So I don't know if you're looking to build your team. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a whole other discussion. Absolutely. We're looking to build our team. I mean, we have a big operation even without this. Absolutely. And especially if they're good and trainable, that would be phenomenal, and if they just want to call up and look, and even if we do this, if you end up doing the program with Peter, I'd come in and help you set up the real estate side so you understand both sides of it as a realtor. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. 100%. I love it.
And by the way, I'm for sure interested in talking with Peter. I mean, that
Yes.
sounds phenomenal. All right, buddy. Well, look, where can people find you? Where can people get a closer look, reach out to you, say hi, say thank you? Like,
on Facebook, it's Pete. My last name is KUC. You can find me there. My email address is p.kuc@mayregroup.com. On our website, you can look up, you just Google May Real Estate Group and find us there. But, either or would be great. I'm not going to do my cell phone because, as people know that know me close, I never answer my phone anyway. So it would be a waste of time.
Yeah, your email's tough, man. Well, you should just get like a Pete K or Pete Cook at Gmail.
I know. Well, I do have that too. I do have PeteCook5@yahoo.com too.
Yahoo.
So
crazy guy. All right, man. Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Let's chat later in the week.
All right, Toby. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
You too, pal. See ya.
Bye, bud. See ya.
Let's go.